Greetings, listeners. It's your Destiny Pusher, Mrs. Cynthia Williams-Bey, and it's time to push through on this Fighting Friday so you can be restored and sprung forth into your destiny. And welcome to the Williams-Bey Radio Show here on 101.3 FM and on Facebook Live. Yay! I am Mrs. Cynthia Williams-Bey, or rather, Prophetess Cynthia Williams-Bey, your Destiny Pusher on this Fighting Fridays. How many of you guys are ready to push forward so that way God can restore you and push you forward to your destiny? Come on, let me know where you're tuned in from. Put it in the comments. And make sure that you invite a friend and share this broadcast, guys. Again, thank you guys so much just for your continued support, because we cannot do this without you. So just thank you guys again. And also, please make sure that you are sowing a seed, right? Because it takes a lot to produce this. And we are bringing some great content and some amazing guests at no charge. So to help us to continue to push forward with this vision and bring you valuable content and excellence, please make sure that you drop a seed, whether it's $1, $5, whatever. It is appreciated. Via Cash App, $ Williams-Bey Radio Show. Again, that's $ Williams-Bey Radio Show. So listen, I am so excited, guys, because I really feel like it's just valuable to hear more from our men, right? Can I get a hand clap? We need to hear more from our men. So I have a friend of me and Andre's. This is our spiritual brother. We love him. Andre loved him. They had a great relationship, but I just feel like the voices of our men need to be elevated in this season. So I have someone really special that's going to be coming on, and we're going to be talking about finances and family. That's right, finances and family. He is a father, a business owner, a husband, a ministry leader. I mean, listen, he a bishop in his own right, but I ain't gonna say nothing about that, right? So without further ado, I want to introduce you guys to my guest today, Mr. Joseph Fountain. Hey. Yeah, The brother came out of me. The brother came out.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you so much for coming on to the show.
Absolutely. We family.
Yes. So tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Okay, cool. Well, my name is Joseph Fountain. I grew up in Richmond, Virginia. Grew up in Northside, Highland Park. And I actually, used to work as an engineer, got laid off in the recession of like 2008, got laid off, and it kind of pushed me into business. And so I've been in business since that time. I have a digital marketing company. We do a lot around strategy and training, and then I also do a lot around financial education as well, just trying to help my fellow brothers and sisters just learn how that, you don't need to have a lot of money to succeed. It's just more so about the mindset behind it. And no matter where you are, you can actually have the success. So.
Oh, wow. Wow, man. Listen, and he started, guys, 2008 recession back then?
Yep. 2008 recession. Yep. I ain't had a choice.
Listen, how many of us out there don't have a choice? It's like, let me get these coins. I got to feed my family.
Absolutely.
That's amazing because they say that most millionaires and billionaires are made in recessions.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. And the pandemic, right? Look how many businesses have been birthed.
Absolutely.
In the midst of the pandemic. You know? And it's crazy that it takes that for us to really know what's on the inside of us.
Right. And I mean, and that's the thing. A lot of times we don't, and we get very complacent. The way society, teaches us is like, go get a good job. And normally when people work, they don't grow. So when you get put in a position where you have to grow, you find out like, oh, well, this is stuff I had to do. You find there's more within you and you can accomplish those things. And once you just have one little success, so you can have more. So.
Oh, wow. Man, so you are dad.
Yes, dad.
Husband. Ministry leader.
Yep, that too.
And first though, wait a minute. Without further ado, we need to give honor to the beautiful woman that made him, Apostle Karen Fountain. Hey!
Yeah, I'm sure she screamed when she heard that.
Yes. Yeah, so just tell us a little bit more about, just like as a man during this time, like how it is just kind of like leading your family to financial success and just leading a household, you know, as a man, but as an African-American man, you know, during this time.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, it's pretty simple. It's also interesting at the same time because, I didn't grow up with my dad, so we recently have a relationship. Like in the last 8 to 10 years or so, we had a relationship. But I didn't grow up with, all those tools around me. So it's something where you learn through time. Because growing up, the only success I seen was either on the street. Yeah. Or you playing sports. So I was like, I'm gonna do both, But, it first takes time to actually learn. One of the things that we do a lot of is we want stuff, but we don't take the time to learn. Or we complain, we don't take time to learn. So one of the things with me was when I would get intrigued, and my mom, she kind of helped with that, like expose me to other things. You ask the question, well, how are people starting to have their success? Yeah. Because like the person that like my wife we got married, I'm not the same person. I wasn't that great with money back then, like understanding finances as I am now. So it took a while. It took me learning. Well, back then, Google won't really popping like that. So I'm telling my age.
Yeah, you're telling the age. Come on, I ain't want everybody to know my age, bro.
So Google really won't popping like that. So but I went to a library a lot, and I would sit there and I would read books. Never liked reading, but I would read books and things like that on how finance work. Things like that, like to get my mindset to understand what I need to do and how can I do from where I am and how can I put those strategies in place and what it takes. And so just as a man, being able to just get rid of the pride, because how we don't, we have a lot of pride that sometimes keeps us from learning even communicating and asking others, in which I was able to talk to some other men that don't look like me. Like, so what do you do? Like, how were you able to accomplish this, accomplish that? How do you set those standards? How do you provide? How do you make money, more money? How do you asking those questions? And I started to open myself up to growing by being able to do that. So that's the first step, is just really being open enough to know that you have more room to grow. Versus being, you know how we do. We close down, I'm good. Try to figure out everything on our own. Yeah. You can, but it's nice when you have people that don't mind pointing in the right direction. Yeah. And so that process, it took a while. It took me a couple of years to understand finances, because everything is it's in like these other type of vocabulary that you're like, what does that mean? And, not used to it. And really, a lot of it is just hyped up and hyped over words when it's very simple. So it took me a while. It took me two and a half years to really understand that. But then be able to understand that, then be able to demonstrate that, which allowed me to kind of, help show my wife and things like that. And then just not being afraid to make those decisions that I should be making. Like one of the things, especially like you said, like as a man during this time, like I try to keep my family away from getting caught up in the hype of how we're marketed everything. Everything is marketed to you. Everything is, put in front of you. So you kind of get that perception that, oh, you should be looking like this, you should be doing that, you should be doing this. And really, a lot of the foundations and standards that we have are a lot lower than what we see on social media. Yeah. Like, we don't want to be on the beaches of the world every day, right? Yeah. That's not reality. So, just being able to, hey, welcome to the show, buddy.
Yes.
But just being able to take those steps and then build things based off of, how my family and how we operate purely.
Yes.
He good.
Hey, we got a special guest that just arrived on the show. My little puppy.
What's up, buddy? I ain't seen you in a minute. What's up? All right, go ahead, man.
You never know what you're going to get in the Williams-Bey show. You're going to either get the kids or you're going to get my furry kid. Destiny Williams-Bey.
That's real life right there.
And this is real life, right? That's why people love the show, because it's reality. It's reality. Right. This my reality.
When I be doing trainings or like on live, I tell, hey, I got 4 kids and I got an African wife. So you might hear some things and somebody might run in the room, but you know, we family, right?
But how many of you guys can relate to that? You know, even during the pandemic, when we were like on our Zooms, like everybody, we get dressed up from the waist up, right?
Absolutely.
And then it was this viral video of a dad, actually, he was on a Zoom call and his kid came in, and then when he got up, like he had on like these shorts or something. Like it was so funny.
No, that's wow. Real. That's real. But even funny you say that, it's like the world is more accepting of that than they were like maybe 10 years ago. So so people appreciate that. They appreciate it. Yeah.
And it took the pandemic to really get people to really focus back in on a home. And I really feel like it was strategic from God, because we just got so used to the hustle, the bustle, the routine of things, and we were kind of missing the home. So I feel like God, you know, shifted us and brought us back to the home. One, with worship, because we supposed to be, the worship is supposed to be set, and the altar is supposed to be set in our homes first. Right. So him bringing us back to that. And then also, like, even when it comes to the home cooking, like, you'd be surprised how many younger women that I've encountered that don't know how to cook, or they don't cook a lot, you know, and no hating or anything like that. But I think the men want a home cooked meal, right?
No, right.
And my kids, you know, my mom used to cook all the time. But just bringing us back to that, you know, just to the family and the importance of the family, because the family has been under attack. You know, especially, you know, marriage and our men have really been under attack, you know, prior to the pandemic, but it seemed as if it's escalated, you know.
I'm glad you said it, because, you know, most men are actually pretty simple. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how you see those memes where it be like, what she think you doing when you out with your boys? Oh, yeah. Don't nobody be doing no but joking. Talking about business and making money or just having fun is you know, but no, you're absolutely right. One of the things in the pandemic for me, like we were just laughing about it. Like I used to putting my phone do not disturb, like, you know, a few hours out of the day. When the pandemic hit, I put it on 24/7. And personally with our family, we've enjoyed being able to spend more time together. It's also increased our focus on the things we wanted to do, like versus, like you're saying, you're ripping and running, you're here and there, and then you don't really have time for family like that. But you got time for everything else, and you lose that family dynamic. Man, we've gotten more stuff done at home during the pandemic than we've gotten since we've been in our house. Wow. And it makes you say, like, dang, we could have been doing this. But that notion of thinking you got to be here, got to be there, and all that, and a lot of times just be to please people. So so the family dynamic has definitely been, in a sense, under attack. And I think this pandemic has definitely, you know, you've seen it. There's been a lot of separations, a lot of divorces. But then you've seen a lot of people get the opportunity to get stronger. And spending that time with your kids. Because we don't know the effects of this pandemic on our kids. So our presence matters a lot. And so, you know, we both got large households. So, so you know, we need that time. So for me, the pandemic has been, I don't know about anybody else, but for me, it's also been a message to, you know, detach yourself from a lot of this stuff that you was doing. It's nice. It served its purpose, but just focus more on the home, especially with kids, because they have a future. And so what they're going to live in a time we don't know, and they need that time for us. They really do. So I definitely agree with that. And, you know, one thing that I appreciate about the pandemic, I'm probably the first person to say I appreciate the pandemic. Oh, I appreciate it. But I'm going somewhere here. But I really appreciated it because, you know, God knows, right? He knows all things. He sees things that's going to happen before they happen. And essentially, when it came to the pandemic, like, we grew a lot closer as a family. We got to spend a lot of time together, but who would have knew that was going to be so valuable, because Dre passed on. So my kids will at least remember all the trips that we made during the pandemic, the games we played,
just us being silly, just being in the house together, just trying to figure out stuff, I mean, it was good. And Lord Jesus, and the pandemic didn't stop him from bowling though.
No, it didn't.
But that was like his outlet, which was really great. That was his outlet, but it was a blessing because we grew so much together. We grew a lot closer and had a great relationship. Now you guys started homeschooling your children, right?
Somewhat. We somewhat is more just the virtual aspect of the school. Now they're going back, but but just it's more so to give them more of a break because the pandemic happened and you still don't have a break from certain things. Because the school system, whole other conversation, but they kept the pressure on. Yeah, I don't agree with that. But them being at home virtually, we were able to kind of start working around them with different things, different activities, being able to talk to them more, especially like around who they are. Because you don't go to school to learn culture. Yes. So, but being able to learn more about themselves and just open their horizons a little bit more to just, the end of the box, learning. Yeah. So we've been able to help them, to the best of our abilities with that. So, but it's been a journey. It's been a journey. But I tell you, just like you're saying, I thank God for the time completely. So
yes, and shout out to your beautiful wife, my sister Anna Fountain. Yes, y'all make sure y'all go and support her as well because she has her
she has like a natural body lotions and soap and things like that. So and she does pretty good. She has it's one thing in business when you have people who support you, your family friends, then you got like customers. Like people who they come periodically, right? Yes. So, and that's what's happened in her business during the pandemic. She has people that they just shop when they run out, they re-up. Just like can I say that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, re-up. Re-up is good.
but they buy more, so they buy more, and so it's been really good for her. So it's been good for us. So thank you.
That's great. So look. So one of the things I wanted to talk about was like the finances and stuff like that. Like, what are the things that you put in place so that way your family, was able to still prosper like during this time?
Right. So now there's a lot of different things. It's not just full on like just, face on money versus money. But there's also different aspects. One thing is, of course, like most people during the pandemic, you didn't spend as much money because you weren't going a lot of places.
Well, some people. Some people was just like, the liquor store. I did this. They were going crazy.
Right, they were going crazy. But for those, kind of, in a certain box, you didn't really spend a whole lot of money because there was a lot of places to go. Stuff wasn't open. Gas was $1 a gallon versus
now it's $5 now, guys. Lord.
So you got a chance to see more money.
Yes.
And a lot of times what people have mistake is that financial management or financial success means you can't do nothing. And it's not like that. It's more just about not blowing the bank every time you get paid. But just, being able to kind of just stay consistent with what we're already doing. One of the things during the pandemic, and this is more on the money versus money side, is just like you said in recession, during the pandemic, things seem to look a little shaky.
Yes.
That caused a lot of fear. And the media plays on that. Yeah. So now for me, that's an opportunity. So my investing, I upped it a little bit, but I would be continuing to invest. Yeah. I'm pretty much consistent, but a lot of people will pull away sometimes unless it's something that they get hyped up. Like you've seen some cryptos go, I'm getting, they get around the hyped up stuff. They don't have a regimen of consistency.
Wow.
But when you have those times of slowing down, it helps you to be able to take a look at things between you and your family, not burst off of what you see on social media, what society tells you should be like. Yeah. And then it also gets you close to what you really want. And you found some things you don't want, some things you do like, etc. All those things can play into your finances. Yes. But here's some other things that we did that I think people still have time to do as we're kind of headed into like a recession and a downturn. Yeah. One of the things we did was we had a family meeting. And with our family meeting, for those that we could meet with, we talked about what could we do with some of us have businesses. What could we do in business, and what skills could we do to kind of, I guess, come up during this time? What could we do? Because during times like these, it's also a time where some people need to shift. Some people are staying stuck, and the money is leaving that sector and going somewhere else. So that means you got to improve on your skills, learn something. Some people's like, I don't want to do that. I just want to do me right now. Okay. But now we're in a place now where people starting to see like, I need to do something.
Yeah.
So we had a meeting, and one of the things we talked about was like, what could we do? So my brother-in-law, who had recently gotten, good with IT and was IT professional, he started teaching classes, and we encouraged as many family members as we could to take his IT classes. He won't even try to charge the family, not like that. He does classes on the regular. So many of them took those classes. So now you fast forward, it's like a year and a half, 2 years. Many of them started to get much higher paying jobs outside of a field that they didn't go to school for or whatever.
Wow.
Where there is money and there's an excess of it. So that was able to then, as a family unit, take everybody up, right?
I hope you guys are listening. Oh, y'all listen to this nugget? Wow. Mm-hmm. The family, not just your house, like your family.
The whole family.
The whole family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even my wife, and she took the class as well. And once she had the baby, she was able to leave her job.
Wow.
So she's been working contract jobs and stuff from home, and she's been loving it because a lot of that IT stuff is what she's used to kind of, get well versed and to get those jobs. And so, so we've been able to live a different family dynamic, than before, to where, she's loving what she does, and she's kind of bougie with it now. She don't want to do this. I don't want to do nothing else.
Yeah. Wow. Look at that. Listen. Mm-hmm. Wow. The whole family just spreading that knowledge. So essentially having a meeting, that's communication. Mm-hmm. Then pouring out that knowledge, right? Right. Pouring out that knowledge, pouring into your family, and then the family pouring back into him by actually investing in the class, taking the class. And with that investment, the whole family was able to level up, essentially.
Yeah, many of them have been able to get jobs. Mm-hmm. High-paying jobs. We'll just say that, right?
Yeah.
Many of them have been paid. Yeah. Being able to get jobs, and so that was one thing. As a family, we came together. One of the biggest. I know how things are with family, and a lot of times people, they're not on good terms with their family. I get it. So, if you can't work with a certain family, you can't work with them. Or maybe it might be time to put that, if we having real talk, just put whatever disagreements y'all got to the side. Yeah. If the other one isn't willing, then, you just make sure you do it and do your best. So you can't necessarily work with them. Maybe you can. But one of the things I believe is that when God gave us family, he gave us a built-in support system.
Yes.
Society's taught us to go chase your dreams and move across the country. Mm-hmm. Now, we look at today, we're in an economy that doesn't support that. So if you somewhere especially out in California by yourself, it's tight. It's tough. It's tough to live out there. Versus the family unit being at least on one accord to some degree with whoever does, to where you can practice group economics. So something like this, what's happening, it don't matter. It don't bother you because you guys are together, and you guys are pooled together, and you guys are able to use up resources, help each other, and that's how it's supposed to be. Yes. So participating in a recession or an economic downturn, some people feel like it's nothing they can do, but it's completely optional. There are ways to be able to succeed in it. It's just, are you willing to do what it takes to do that? So that was something that we did as a family to really push and then see it start working, to see family members start getting jobs or careers that's they're making way more money than they've ever made. Wow. That's amazing. And so as a family, it just makes it more freeing. As a family, everybody frees up. You don't have the struggle dynamic starting to happen. You don't have that. You have the reverse, where people are wealth and things are building, which makes family get-togethers and ideas and business pitches. It makes it a whole lot easier.
Yeah. Wow.
So that was one of the things that we did during that time. As I said, we continue to invest. We also continue to improve our home, which has a value. You know, you know, if you just sell your home right now, you know, the equity is insane.
Yeah.
So those were just some things that we did to kind of help during that time. Also, just improving in our business. What can we do? I cut a lot of stuff out of my business and only focus on some stuff because I don't have the time to do a lot of service-driven work.
Yeah.
But I do have more time to do more trainings and stuff like that. So when the pandemic hit, I'm already in an online culture.
Yes.
So I'm already, you know, winning with that. When the pandemic hit, man, I had so many people hitting me up about what we supposed to do about business. What we supposed to do? How we gonna do this? How we gonna do that? Especially churches. I had hundreds of churches like, we don't have an online presence. Now that's a whole nother thing. But but now I was in position, so cutting off a lot of the service-driven stuff allowed me to be able to do a lot of trainings and help those, etc. And of course, in reward, you get paid. But you know, just help people learn how to navigate through this time. But where we're going is pretty huge, which also helped me improve on some partnerships I have with, you know, business and etc. So
so pretty much, I'm hearing him say he was ready.
Oh yeah.
Guys, you have to stay ready. So when it comes, right, you're able to receive that capacity and that growth that God is trying to send your way. So you might be working your business and you might feel like, okay, you know, what's happening, but just continue to work that process, because I tell you, when God sends it, you got to be ready to receive it. You know, we was just talking in my class the other day with my, you know, spiritual father, and we was just kind of like talking about that in regards to like things being in order. Like we talk about, you know, God is going to increase us and he's going to send the overflow, right? And we were just saying, okay, that's great. But can you receive the blessings of God? Can you receive what he's trying to give you? Do you have the capacity to hold it? You know, by making sure you have things in order, you have your processes, your systems, your bank accounts, your proper tax ID, like all that stuff, having those things in place, right? Absolutely. You know, as an entrepreneur, because if you don't, you're not going to have the capacity to receive it, you know? So that's really great.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Sometimes people don't think about it because we think we're very short-sighted.
Yes.
So if God gives you an idea or he tells you to do something, most people, they doubt themselves. It's like, well, I can't do it, etc. But a lot of times what we don't see is the stuff he may be telling us to do is in preparation for a time like now.
Yes.
So when you don't move, you get to a time like now and you're like, dang, this would have been a great opportunity if... And so and I know people say, oh, you know, you're not late, you're on time. Well, no, if you don't listen, then you're going to be late. Yeah. But I know a lot of people don't like that because they don't want to take the accountability. But when God gives you something and he says, hey, do this, or he's pushing you to do something, it's not just for this time, but it's a time that's coming.
Yes.
And so a lot of people miss that. And so like right now, there's still time. We definitely have much to go through economically.
Yes.
Whether the economy is going down, everything is still going to continue to get expensive.
Yes.
Even if inflation comes down, things are still going to get expensive.
Yes.
But guess what's not growing? Your income is not growing. Like the last stats was that you know, goods and services, everything went up 20%. Wages went up 4%. So what are we supposed to do with that? Yeah. Like that's a hot mess, right? Yeah. So like being prepared, and we have to learn how to, you know, sometimes get rid of the junk that we don't need to be focused on and focus on what we need to prepare for. And just like you said, like a time like right now, there's so many blessings waiting for you, but it also will be a blessing to other people and things like that. So you wouldn't have to worry about money right now if you moved when you actually moved a couple of years ago. Hard lesson to learn, but we all been through it where we missed something. Yes. And that was one of the biggest keys during the pandemic for us financially was, like do what you know you're supposed to be doing. Like even for me personally, I increased certain things with my business, like I said, so that I could be able to provide more of a service and things like that. And it feels good to be able to make the change. And because God never shows us the whole picture, and then you start seeing more of it, you're like, well, I'm glad I moved. You know, so it's very important to definitely listen to him and heed his voice when he is giving you something to do, or just your business in general, just being able to adjust. The way things are, they're not going backwards.
No.
We're never going back to pagers and beepers.
Yeah.
We're not going back.
Times are changing.
Right. So
they're changing.
So just let it go. Embrace. You know, just let it go and embrace the time. Don't fight it, because that's something you can't control.
Yeah.
And then you'll find that there is a whole nother world where you can be successful. There's plenty of stories online if you need it that happened during the pandemic. It's just what side you choose to be on.
Yeah. Wow. That's powerful. You know, I remember it was a time even with, you know, the daycare, people didn't understand, like, why are you staying open to midnight?
Man.
Why are you paying 2 staff and you only got 5 children?
That's clutching.
And different things like that, right? People didn't understand it, you know, especially in Virginia, because I was the only one doing it, you know, in this area. And, but look, you know, through those hard times and through people not understanding, I still continue to push forward, because I know I heard God say to do this, right? And what ended up happening is when the pandemic happened, you know, a second location, right? Which, listen, city of Richmond,
let's not talk about
let's talk. Come on, we need to open. They banging down my door. They come into the center like, when are you opening, right? But during that time, you know, I was able to acquire that second facility, you know. And then also all these climates was coming our way, you know, especially those with, you know, the essential workers. And you would think essential workers are like a lot of the high paying job. No, the essential workers are like your delivery men, you know, your warehouse workers, grocery store clerks, those that work non-traditional hours. So I was able to, you know, stay open when everybody else was deemed to have to shut down. In the beauty industry, they had to shut down. Nail salons, they had to shut down. But the governor, we had favor to be able to stay open and still operate our businesses, because we were providing a service that was essential, when people before, they really didn't pay attention. Oh, it's just daycare. It's all not really understanding the value that we brought. You know, because it's like, how can people run the world and run a society if they don't have anywhere to take their kids? Right. You know, and it's a new society.
It's clutch in our city.
Yes. It's a desert. It's a desert, guys. You know, we need more, you know, providers. We need more centers open and things like that. I'm still waiting for my building, in the name of Jesus, a bigger building, because I literally have like a waiting list. Like, they be like, Miss Cindy, my assistant and director, Miss Cindy, like, I'm sending people to my website, please sign up. You know, I don't even have enough room. Right. You know, that's awesome. Yeah. But again, it came because I understood, I wrote the vision, I made it plain, because what is for yet an appointed time. So what happened? A lot of increase came, you know, a lot of funding and support came, because they finally was like, daycare providers are heroes. We were like, yes, we've been telling you guys that, you know. So that's when the overflow and the increase came and things like that. So yes, you definitely have to, you know, wait for that appointed time. And there's some other things God is telling me to do. And I'm just like, okay, God, like, I'm thinking I have until like the end of I'm gonna do it in September. And God was like, no, you need to do it like now. And I'm like, okay, but it's ready. And I didn't understand it at the time when I was creating these courses and all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't know why I'm doing this. I know I was getting on Andre's nerve. I'm like, I know what I hear God saying. So now it's like, all I gotta do is put the flyer out. Right. I'm ready. So, you know, guys, please make sure that you take that nugget and that you guys, even if it doesn't make sense, even if you feel like you're not getting any traction, you know, still stick to it, because what? The vision is for yet an appointed time. You know, absolutely, yeah, absolutely, yeah. That's what happens when we move, and it's revealed to us. You're like, oh man, and you thinking things ain't gonna work out. Like I was talking with my sister here. Like I remember when she broke out. Yes, and now she's super busy. Yes, you know, super busy. Yes, but the market is looking for that. Yes, and she's available for it. So now I'm sure she probably got way too many people. Yes. That she can really deal with, because people hitting her up left and right. She's like, okay, people, I don't really know. Because that's what happens when you move in
we're not going to say perfect timing, but in the good timing.
And good timing and God's timing.
And God's timing.
And one of the things I wanted to point out too, to something that you said, you were talking about like the family and being able to pull the resources. And I'm like, that's biblical, because that's how it was in the book of Acts, right? Mm-hmm. You were able to go into the community, and that's how we're supposed to be as a church. We're supposed to be able to lean on each other as support and pull resources from each other. Right. And that's how we all elevate. So it's like, okay, you have a business. My brother got a business here, you know, and I need to purchase a house, and his business a realtor. Let me come in. I'm going to pay you, right? That increases your family, and now my family is being increased. My bottom line is being increased. You know, my assets, because now I'm able to purchase this house, and I was able to go right to my brother. You know, so that's how we're supposed to be as a body of Christ. We're supposed to be able to pull on each other, you know, and support each other in that way. Because if we're all paying each other for our services, we're winning, because I'm paying him, he's paying somebody else. We're able to utilize our gifts and our talents, and we're not having to go to the world, you know, to get things, you know, and be subject to schemes and things, because there's some charismatic people out here that's been scheming during this pandemic.
Now she used as an example. Don't call me about no house, because I can't help you. But this example is community. No, you're absolutely right. During the pandemic, one of the things that we also did was we always support Black-owned business.
Yes.
But we made a mission to like support more during that time.
Yes.
The funniest thing happened. Now, of course, you know, when you're doing that, you know, you're putting out money. But the funny thing was, because we were supporting, the reciprocation when people like, oh, you know what, I need this. And then when we looked at our finances from like the money we put out, it's almost like we never spent anything.
Wow.
So then you start learning the art of like, that's why communities do that. You know, when it talks about other communities and how the dollar goes around. Yes. Versus in our community, you know, that junk gone when you get it. Yeah. Right. You know, Louis got that, you know, like it's gone. Yes. Right. But other communities, when they do that, like that's why they're able to continue to come up, because the money is working more for them than against them. Yes. When your money leaves and you have no way of it, you know, not everything. We have to spend some, you know, money, but just in general, like when the money just leaves, like it has no way of helping you. Yes. You know, but when you put it in some type of system where it's circulating, or there's some type of return that's happening, you see how easy it is to come up, because it's almost like we never spent a dime. Yes. During the pandemic. That's what it felt like, because we were just supporting each other and friends and stuff like that. So, and that's because he gives seed to the sower. Absolutely. And there's a difference between spending and sowing and investing. Like you guys invested in someone, and that investment came back. Yep. Just like as a seed, you sow a seed, it comes back. And money, you know, it was a post that you did, and I thought it was just like really great. And it essentially said like money never really leaves, it just transfers. It just transfers. Money never disappears, it just goes from one place to the next. Yeah. So like if you're in a place where the money's leaving, you need to find out where it's going. Like that's the game that we don't understand, we don't play. Like I get it. The government, there's nothing we can do about the government. They can do what they do. Yes. They're not going to help you, so don't get caught up in that. What you can do is learn how the game is played. You can go find out what laws are being passed, what laws aren't being passed, what's happening. Like during like when Trump was in office, he had this thing called opportunity zones, where you could buy homes or whatever, and they was giving you extra money on top of that. A lot of people didn't know or wasn't paying attention to that. So being able to like just find what's happening, what's shifting, what's changing, you're just following the money. Yeah. And I know some people, especially in the Christian community, like, it ain't all about money. Well, you know, if you go to work 8 hours a day, obviously it must be. So, because you at work. So, but just understanding how the money moves. And so when you're able to watch how it moves, you're able to position yourself. And sometimes that means you need to change what you're doing, work on some skills, you know, grow a little bit more so you can put it in position. So if you're selling pages right now, like, you know, there's no money there. Yeah. Unless it's like some novelty or something. But and that's just an example. So money, it never leaves. It just shifts around. So right now, and I just posted about this, we had a billionaire created almost every single day during the pandemic.
Yeah, 600.
Almost 600. So the struggle, I mean, it's there, but it doesn't have to be. Yeah. So the money's going somewhere. You just have to figure out how you can just get in the way a little bit of it. So
yes, and piggyback off of what you were saying about like in the Christian community, we kind of like frown our faces and it's not about money. But then on the other hand, we like
number one prayer.
You gotta pay your tithes and offering because ministry costs. Okay, yeah. Then it's about the number one prayer.
Right? Lord bless me financially.
Yeah, it's the number one prayer, right? It's nothing wrong. Like He wants us to live life and live it more abundantly, and we can't do anything poor.
Right.
You know, we can't feed the needy poor. We can't build houses poor. We can't help the orphans and stuff being poor. Like, you know, we have to. And one thing, you know, that I say, and I actually told my apostle, because he's always pouring like nuggets into us outside of just, you know, just being like religious. Because there's no way, other way. People are religious. We have to break out of that spirit of religion. And one thing that I was saying, and I told him, I said, you know, a lot of times as Christians, we teach people about the 10%, right? Which is the tithe. And we teach them about 10%. You need to tithe 10% this, but rarely do you get people, you know, in your life, ministry wise, that don't just teach you about the 10%, but they teach you about how to get the 100% so you can pour back the 10%. Or
what to do with the other 90%.
Yes, yeah. So let's teach people, you know, how to get that 100%. Like how to get the bag, right? How to be prosperous, you know, how to be good stewards, you know, how to obtain that, because God says He give us the ability to obtain wealth. So wealth is not wicked, right? However, you know, we have to be in a position to teach each other that, so that way it is easier for us to be able to give that 10% and do benevolence and all those other things that we aspire to do, you know, because it's like, how are we going to help the lost and things like that? You know, that's why you see a lot of the kids, you know, during my time, you know, we looked at the drug dealers and we looked at the girls, we looked at the strippers and stuff, like, yo, she getting this. Like, we wasn't looking at the church lady, because we see the church lady and them struggling, you know, compared to the dope boys and the girls, right? That's
a hard conversation that sometimes people, you know, especially when you show the differences. Yes. You know, being good with your money, like it doesn't mean it's separate from God.
Yes.
You know, tithing has a money management aspect to it all in itself.
Yes.
To be able to give 10%.
Yes.
You know, like, and sometimes we separate being in good health, you know, taking care of yourself, taking care of your family. All that stuff is supposed to work together. It's not supposed to be separate. And a lot of people, so like I was saying, like people will sometimes say like, oh, it's not always about the money, but they work 8 and 10 hours a day. But why do you work 8, 10 hours a day? No, it's not all about the money, right? It's not all about the money. But why do you work 8 to 10 hours out a day?
Yeah.
Like, why? Like, is it because you just want to, or because you have to?
Yes.
Because you got bills, right?
Yes.
Or you want to buy stuff. That's the economy we live in, where it's money driven.
Yes.
And so sometimes we disconnect it, and it's like, well, you're gonna work hard for it, and you don't have a problem just giving it away to all the bill collectors and everything, and then having to go back and struggle. You don't have a problem. Like, it's okay to learn about your money and take care of it. It's fine. And just like you're saying, with that type of rat race, how can you even serve God wholeheartedly if you got to be at work 20 hours a day?
Yeah.
Like, if that's your calling, that's one thing, right?
Yes.
But I don't know too many people that's called for that.
Yeah.
But how do you serve God outrightly like that if you don't have the time or the resources? He's telling you to do something, but you're like, I gotta go to work. Not saying that you don't work, but just meaning how much that stuff pulls on us on a daily basis.
Yes.
You gotta be able to free yourself to be able to do those things that God's called you to, and have some fun along the way, you know? So it's not separate. It works all together. The kingdom, it all works together, you know? And that's an aspect that sometimes, you know, our people tend to lack on, just that financial astuteness or education. And that helps us to become more powerful and be more resourceful within ourselves. So.
Yes. Amen. Listen, on that note, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And again, you're tuned in to the Williams-Bey Radio Show here on 101.9 101.3 Rejoice FM.
Let's go.
Hello, Rejoice listeners. This is Cynthia Williams-Bey of the Williams-Bey Radio Show. Be sure to tune in with me every Friday at 12 noon here on Rejoice 101.3 because it's Fighting Fridays and it's time for you to push through so God can restore you and spring you forth into your destiny.
Have you ever gone through something that you never thought you'd make it through? Got a lot of questions going through your mind. Distractions all around. Feels like we're going down. I've got questions. You got answers. I've got questions. Only you can answer. Lord, we need a word. Lord, we need a word. Lord, we need a word. Tell me, what am I supposed to do when burdens are hard to bear? You know the tests and trials, they begin to overwhelm me. I know I can't go to my God. I've got questions. Questions. Only you can answer. Lord, we need a word. Lord, we need a word. 'Cause it sustains me. It's changed me. God, you're amazing. And I'll never be the same. My healer, a keeper, redeemer. Lord, we need a word. So when trouble comes your way, you can lift your voice and say, oh Lord, I need a word. Oh. Hey, I need a word. I need a word. Oh. 'Cause it sustains me. It's changed me. It's changed me. Yeah. And I'll never be the same. All you do, oh Jesus. Lord, we need a word. Lord, we need a word.
Hello, everyone, and you tune back into the Williams-Bey Radio Show. I am Prophetess Cynthia Williams-Bey, and we have been here just talking to my brother, Joseph Fountain. Listen, guys, I can't even recap what we was talking about because it was just so many nuggets. I just need you guys, if you're just tuning in, make sure that you watch the replay. Please watch the replay, okay? But listen, we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump back in. So listen, Joseph,
Yes.
one of the things that I want you to talk to the audience about, because one thing that I admire and know to be true with you and Anna is you guys have that fruit in regards to, both of you, like having successful businesses, being entrepreneurs in your own right, but y'all still have a beautiful marriage. Not saying perfect, right? Because we all have things, but you guys have just been amazing in making that work. Like, so as a husband with a wife that also, have a vision and she's an entrepreneur, can you speak to the married couples out there that may be struggling with that, or some of the men that may be struggling pride-wise that my wife blowing up, like, you know.
Hey, bro,
listen.
Hey, bro, if your wife is blowing up and she making a lot of money, bro, just hey, ain't nothing wrong with keeping the house clean, bro. Like, hey, do what you gotta do.
Yes.
You know, like the memes and the joints that be on TikTok. But no, like, so seriously, one of the things now for us, of course, like any marriage, it starts with having communication. It's not perfect, but you go through the frustrations of, well, I need to do this, I got to do that. Well, some of the things that you have to learn is, one, is understanding that you guys aren't each other's competition, your team.
Yes.
So if my wife brings in $1 million in the house, that's $1 million for the house.
Exactly.
If I bring $1 million in the house, that's $1 million for the house.
Yes.
Listen, if my son brings in $1 million into the house, that's $1 million into the house. You know, so understand that you're on the same team. And I think sometimes people, and not to section off, but especially for Black people, that competitive nature, it is not healthy at all. Like, y'all, you against them, and y'all on the same team, yo. Yes. Like, so once you understand you're on the same team, you can start building something together. So yeah, my wife has her business, and I make it upon my business to try to support as much as I can, which means for me, I'm someone that I used to be all over the place. I used to travel a lot for business. Used to be on the phone till 12 midnight, all that stuff, working with team members or clients that's overseas 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And, you know, it's cool to a degree, but at some point you start learning, like, this maybe we need to find another way.
Yes.
So I started taking away things that where I would consider to just be extra, or personally, I just don't need to put time in it. So I could focus more and take some of that time, put it back into my family.
Yes.
Like, starting out in my business, I operate a lot on the service-based side, and I started taking away a lot of that because I have 4 kids, or, you know, at the time just had, like, you know, 2-3 kids, but started getting more into the aspect of, you know, being able to be a service to my family.
Yes.
So now we have more time. And then just coming up with different plans of saying, because I have stuff to do, she has something to do, hey, you got something to do, let's schedule it within our family, and then trying to do my best as a husband to support her, because her success is a representation of me. It affects me, you know, as well, and opposite. And if she's happy, you know, I'm happy. It's not happy wife, happy life. It's, you know, it's happy spouse, happy house, right? So
yes,
so it don't matter.
That.
So it doesn't matter who it is, but I want to see her happy, right? And sometimes people think that whoever's doing this and that is like the leader and all. It doesn't. It's not like that at all. Yeah. But just understand that you guys are on a team together. Someone told us when we got married that when you guys come together, it's nothing y'all can't accomplish. So if you remember that, so if your wife has a business and is thriving, for example, dude, be her biggest cheerleader. If you can do the flyers, you do the flyers. Now, you know, of course, you know, keep the household together as a family. Yes. You know, make sure you guys are both doing what you're supposed to do. Yes. And it's not like, oh, you just do it. It's not like that. But just be as supportive for each other as you possibly can. Like, I've had my wife, like, in some of my videos and stuff like that whatever. Yeah. But just finding ways to work as a unit instead of against each other, because you're on the same team. And you will not get a championship by yourself. You get a championship together.
Ooh, come on, Bishop. I told y'all. Man, that's so good. That's so good. Oh my God. Say that again to the camera.
Which part? So listen, you will not get a championship by yourself. You guys will get a championship together. Like right now, the NBA Finals is happening. If you get a championship, anyone that works with the team in whatever position they play, not just the players, like staff, drivers, anybody, they all get rings because, you know, they were doing their part in the championship. So, wow, that's powerful. Listen, can you tell everybody how they can continue to support you and follow you on social media and everything, and even a wonderful wife? Yeah, absolutely. Well, first you can find my wife online as Goka Bean. That's the name of her business, Goka Bean, Bean. Goka was her maiden name before we got married.
Oh, wow.
Very unique, so we wanted to find a way to keep it around. So
yeah.
You can find me online at Joseph L. Fountain on any of your platforms, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, the TikTok. I'm on there too. On YouTube, my finance channel is Get Smart University.
Wow. Awesome. Listen, bro, thank you so much. Like, I know everybody, guys, I know y'all blessed by this. Just thank you so much for just coming on, just dropping those nuggets and just being a voice for the men. Like, just being a voice for the men. Like, we just need it, just to hear more men voices. Like, this was amazing. Really great.
I appreciate
and I know,
yes,
and I know the viewer is going to be blessed by this interview.
Thank you, and congratulations on the show. I know my brother would be proud. I've been thinking about it since I've been here. I know he'd be excited and proud. So I'm super excited to see how everything will continue to grow.
Thank you.
And you already know, hit my line.
Yeah. He'll be on the side like Oprah. I'm like, all right now. Go Oprah.
He was like, because I'm married to Oprah, right? That's what's up.
So thank you so much. And thank you so much, bro. Listen, guys, that's a wrap. Just thank y'all so much for just tuning in. Please make sure that you share this broadcast, okay? Share it, and don't forget to sow a seed, all right? So we can continue to push forward with this vision, okay? And bring you excellent content and excellent voices in an excellent way, all right? And you can do that via Cash App at $ Williams-Bey Radio Show. Again, $ Williams-Bey Radio Show. And on that note, I am Prophetess Cynthia Williams-Bey, and it is a wrap, and I will see you guys next Friday, so that way you guys can continue pushing forward, so that way God can restore you and push you forward into your destiny. See you guys next week. Thank you for tuning in to the Williams-Bey Radio Show here on Rejoice 101.3. To be a guest or to become a partner of our show, please be sure to email me at cindy@bayradioshow.com. To stay up to date with us and to catch the replay, visit us at www.bayradioshow.com. And don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms at Bey Radio Show. And again, this is your Destiny Pusher, Mrs. Cynthia Williams-Bey, and I need you to meet me back next Friday at the same time so that God can restore you and spring you forth into your destiny.